when Kyle was med flighted from Dubuque to Iowa City, and when we got to Iowa City in the middle of the night, very early morning on the 12th, they were waiting for us. And when they told us that he was not going to survive his injuries, at some point I had inquired about Kyle being, if he was to be a candidate for organ donation, and they had asked me if I knew if he was on his license, and I said no, and they said I could make that decision. And so throughout the morning, they're very informative. They come in, they talk to you, they tell you everything. And at one point, they were telling me what was going to happen after Kyle had passed. They give you the time that you need, and they said they were going to have to take him into the operating room that weekend, and they would do the harvesting of the organs, at which time they would cut him open and take out the organs and give them to the recipients. And I remember at that point, knowing that they were going to cut into my child was just a little too much. And knowing that that was the reality, that Kyle was really gone, was too overwhelming. And I had told them that no, I didn't want to proceed with the organ donation. And they told me that was okay. And so you're ashamed, you feel selfish, but the thought of them cutting into your child and actually having to let him go, it's a lot. And at some point after they had left, one of the nurses, I don't know if she was from the donor team, I don't know, from Iowa City, they had checked the registry from when Kyle, he had just renewed his license 4 months before the accident. And they had checked. And I remember her walking into the room, and I was sitting by Kyle's side. And I remember her coming in, and she says, Kyle was a organ donor. I called the Wisconsin registry, and he was an organ donor. And my son always made up his mind to do stuff. He was going to do things. And I knew that was him telling us that that's what he wanted. And so kind of the fear and selfish feeling of not letting that happen lifted. And I knew those were Kyle's words. I knew that he couldn't speak to us, but he had somehow spoken to us. And so we said, okay, if that's what Kyle wanted to do, then that's what we're going to do. And then we proceeded. And from there, when Kyle passed, his organs were harvested, and his heart went to an 18-year-old boy, and his liver and his lungs and his kidneys. And so somewhere people got the miracle that we didn't get.